There we go.
Hey, man.
Perfect.
Hey, how's it going?
Perfect. What's up, dude?
Cool. Nothing much. Just looking forward to this podcast. Never really been on one before, so
Dude,
it's all new to me.
I started this in this past December, so I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. So it's just yeah.
I like it. Just,
Yeah.
I saw your other videos. Just ask people what they do. See people do it. I like it.
Yeah. Everyone's always like, "Do you have prepared questions? Do you research?" And I'm like, "No, man. If I start doing that, I'll stop doing it because it will become work, and I'll be like, fuck this. I don't want to do this today." But if it's just like literally like open up Skype and it's just like, "What's up?" Like to me, it's so much
Just
more natural.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
kind of.
So yeah. But enough about my boring. And for someone's asked me, how come I always have this jacket on? It's in this room. I can like, it's above the garage, so I can like not turn on the heater, and so I do that so it stays really cold in here because this laptop overheats when I like screen record, like what I'm doing right now.
Oh, yeah.
So if I keep it like 55 in here, the laptop runs much smoother. So yeah, I figure
Here we go.
yeah, so I just bundle up, and everyone's like, "Do you have heat?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do. It's my own insanity. Just ignore it." And it's a big cozy jacket. So yeah, there's nothing deeper to it than that. There's no underlying meaning. But yeah, man. So introduce yourself and yeah, what do
So
you do? Yeah.
I'm just 18 years old. I'm in college currently. I always wanted to be a pilot commercially, professionally. So when I was younger, some of my family works for a airline, and so I was lucky to be introduced into the airline world and see what it's like, see what the pilots do, what the flight attendants do, what everyone does. So I just kind of saw it and said I should do this. So when I was 12, my mom, she had a friend, a coworker, who was part of a flying club in the area. It was just gliders,
Yeah.
airplanes with doesn't have a propeller, so it was just glides.
Yeah.
So when I was 12, we went over to the small field, had a couple airplanes, and I got in the plane, went up in the air, had loads of fun. And so right then I knew I wanted to do that for a living. So from there, it's a long story. So
No, dude.
from 12 to about 15, I would always go to this glider port and fly. And I was too young until I was 15 to go by myself and start getting my light rating. And unfortunately, when I was 15, I didn't get my rating because I had schoolwork to do and other things. I wasn't focused on it enough. So when I turned 15, I thought my godfather, who's a captain, who was a captain for a airline, he thought it would be a good idea to have me take lessons in an actual powered aircraft at a local airport we had. And so when I was 15, we took off in this small little Cessna 152, and I'm so short, it was kind of funny. So fly, I find that awesome too. So I started flying, and then I also ended up working for that airport too. So that was fun. So I was working and flying at the same airport because I was just in love with aviation.
I was gonna say, yeah, dude. It sounds like you just, yeah, it's written all over your face. It sounds like you just fucking love it, dude. That's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
fun.
That's awesome. And you said you're 18.
Yeah. So
Jesus.
when I was, so I started flying. I wasn't flying too much, but until I was around 16, 17, I started flying more. And eventually I started flying at a different flight school, different airplanes, 172s. So I started flying there. And then when I was 17, I started really getting into it, maybe a couple times a month, twice a week or so. And I got my license when I was 18, a couple months ago, actually. So I got my private pilot's license. So that was awesome, finally, because it was like 3 years in the making for
Jesus.
power, but then a bunch of years in the making just in general.
Yeah.
Flying. So, so I was so happy to finally get that license. I took my check ride with a guy down a different state. So that was awesome. It was awesome, just years leading up to it. And finally happened.
Yeah.
And then it's funny because it took me about 3 years from nothing powered to get my license, but then it only took me around 5 or 6 months to go from private to instrument. So, because I got my instrument just this week or last week. I got my instrument rating last week.
What? No. What is? What does that mean?
Uh,
On you're breaking up. Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, yeah. What does that mean? What does instrument rating mean?
Hey, sorry. So instrument rating. So what's that mean? So when you're a private pilot, you can fly VFR, which is visual flight rules, which means you get up in the air, you have to only look out with your eyes. You're looking where you're going. Your weather always has to be clear most of the time. So that means you're in charge of yourself. But if you're flying instrument, almost all airlines, they fly under instrument. So what this is they can fly and not have to see outside the window.
Okay.
So they just look at their instruments and focus on that and doing approaches.
So it doesn't even matter what's sorry for interrupting. So it doesn't even matter what's outside it can
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's completely different. So I was really happy to get that. The check ride was pretty good. So the check ride, it's like a driving test. So they have you do a bunch of different little tests. Well, for me, because I go to a 141 school, so there's different schools. So a Part 61 school, it means that you go to like your local airfield and you just start taking lessons, and then you take your check ride and you're done. But a Part 141 school, that's in line with typically a college or different program, and so you fly as part of your getting credits. So typically your hours are reduced. Like for me, you need 1,500 hours. 1,500 hours to get to an airlines job, so like for Public Airlines or United Express. But if you go to one of these schools that have this 141 program, that means it's only going to require you 1,000 hours to get to that airline. So that's why I opted to go to one of those schools. So back to the check ride. Here they do it differently. They do it in like steps. So you have your oral, which means you're going to talk about it. So you're going to say, like, what's this do? What's this mean? So you're proficient in knowledge. Then you have your simulator. So you ever see one of those videos where they have the guy in the huge simulator and they're doing these approaches? Well, it's like that, but much smaller, obviously, because it's just a tiny little plane.
Yeah.
So one of those. So we do one of those tests, and those are fun. They're a bit difficult because it's not like the plane at all.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of personally a bit unfair to have that check ride in a simulator because not having any of the physical movements. If you're turning, you can't tell if you're turning. That was one of my problems.
Oh, it doesn't. I thought the simulators. I thought they simulated, or it's probably not for like a little Cessna or something.
Exactly. Yeah, for this little thing, they don't have that. It's still madly expensive. And you think with price tag, they still have a full motion.
Yeah.
Then I had the flight, and so that's just going up in the air and having doing a couple approaches. And so, what approach is? So when you're coming to land, you're going to line up and follow these steps. So I can probably show you.
Yeah.
What we had on our check ride. And pull up a approach plate.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think those simulators. I thought all of them, I guess, moved around. But I guess if you're not like training to fly like an F-22 Raptor or something, they're probably like you'll make do. You'll make do.
Here's an approach for this random airport that I found.
No, you're good.
So it looked like this. So here's what we trained on.
Okay.
So basically, it's almost like you just follow these lines, and then you follow this profile view map. Let's see it. You just follow that down, and there's a glide slope that you follow.
Yeah.
And so it's just a bunch of math, and it's just compared to when you're flying VFR, it's much different. So when you're VFR looking at just a normal map like this, trust. I can't really go into it too much. Sorry, it's probably really confusing.
No.
But you're doing so. There's approach plates. You're doing stuff like that. You're doing a bunch of different things compared to VFR. I guess the idea. Yeah. So, what else you got? What else?
Yeah, dude. So, what's your end goal for like what you would like to fly? Is it you want to be like a small private pilot whipping around on like a G6 for like DJ Khaled, or do you want to go do like Emirates or Etihad and just pilot one of the fucking monsters like the A380s? Like,
so really what I wanted to do, what I still want to do, is fly for a major airline. Ideally, I'm not going to say which one it is.
Yeah.
Too much information, but my parents work for a certain airline.
Okay.
I want to fly with them because that would mean in about 10 years or so, if they're still flying for that airline, that I could literally fly with them as crew members. And
that's crazy.
I think that.
You broke it.
So in the meantime, before I get to that major airline, what I'd like to do is typically people do like a CFI route or commercial routes, like air taxis. I definitely want to do one of those. But after that, they go to a regional airline. But right, because when you go to these airlines, your seniority means everything. That means like what kind of lines you can hold, where you can go, and that's a huge factor. However, like I really want to see like the true aviation of the world. Like what else is there to offer other than what I'm accustomed to?
Yeah.
So I would love to go to Africa or something and fly a little. Small little plane going for little dirt strips, different dirt strips. That or Antarctica. I saw some videos or some guy talking about it, but they're flying in Antarctica, and that would be amazing.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd love to see what that is like, but I don't know. For me, it's either do I want to like go the normal route and get my seniority number and just kind of make good money and just go
go crazy. Fuck that. Go crazy.
Go to Africa and just do the coolest shit in the world, man. I don't know.
Dude, so, fuck that. Go cool route. You can always go back. I mean, speaking in all of my aviation wisdom, which is zero, but it just I feel like the law probably applies to. I mean, like all things, like this podcast, dude. Like I'm trying to make this podcast work. I got into medical school out of college in 2013. I was smart enough to get in once. If I really wanted to, I'm sure I could again. Like, that route is always there.
Yeah.
You can make good money, and, get your seniority, get your MD, get your white coat. Instead of a white coat, I got an orange coat, and I'm doing a podcast. But it's like what you said, man. You want to go see it all. Like, the way I look at it is, like eventually we, we're 10 minutes in, we're jumping into philosophy. Eventually we die, dude. Eventually we die, and, I want to look back and be, regardless of whether or not this podcast succeeds, I want to look back and at least know I fucking took the jump, because if you fail, but you still tried, there's no regret. It's like, I tried, I just wasn't good enough, but I tried. There's nothing like, what could I have done? The worst ever would be like, you're getting into your 60s, 70s, 80s, and you're just yeah, sure, you did it. You made the good money. But now you've had the good money for 50 years, and that's only enticing in your 20s. But now you've had it for 50 years, and you're like, shit, man, I could have been an acrobat, or I could have been a Formula One driver. And it's like, dude, you can always go back to the normal, man. So fuck that, dude. Go be a drug runner in Africa or something.
Well, maybe not.
Maybe not that, but
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I don't want to just follow what normal people do. I mean, it's cool and all. I love it. People who are 777 captains, 787s.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I totally want to do that one day. But in the meantime, I'd love to just see what else is out there. What cool things are there.
Go a little crazy.
I want to take a jump like you are with this podcast.
Yeah.
I want to see what there is.
Yeah.
Look on YouTube. There's so much cool shit out there. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I know this might weird to say, but I'd love to work for one of those contractors out in the Middle East or something.
Yeah.
And just see what they have. When you're flying for trips for contractors, military guys.
Yeah, Blackwater.
Yeah. I know it. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but it just seems such an incredible, but interesting experience.
Yeah.
I know it's
dangerous. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That would be a really unique experience, and I probably wouldn't like it after a month. But,
you probably do. Yeah, you probably do it and then be like, "Fuck this," but you do it.
That was pretty good money, I heard.
Probably.
Really good money because they're risking their life. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the guy I had on 10 episodes ago, just his initials are T, but he's in the Israeli Special Forces, and he's retired, but now he wants to go into defense contracting. He wants to go train militiamen to fight ISIS in Africa. And he's telling me, he's like, the money is, I can't do an Israeli accent, but he's like, the money it's very good. You might die, but it's very good. You only do it for a year. You do it for a year. Because he's he knows guys that went and protected VIPs in Northern Africa or Southeast Asia. And yeah, they make a killing. But I think the group of guys he knew, they eventually were all killed. There was a bomb or something. They were guarding some head of state. And it was in some war-torn country. Yeah, they just, IED just fucked them, done. Game over. But he was telling me, he's he works in a 9 to 5 now. And he's like, I can't do it. He's like, I go to the water cooler and it's just everyone just talking, and I'm like, what
That's
am I?
different kind of
Yeah.
life, right?
He's like, what am I? I go to Starbucks and he's like, or whatever the equivalent is over there, and he's like, it's just people like next, and in his mind he's thinking like, I miss bullets flying by my head, like,
Yeah.
dude. If I were you, I would try to go fly some like unmarked plane for like the CIA, like rendition flights. You know what I'm talking about? Those Lear jets that right after 9/11, that you can find pictures of them on Google. It was like they had like there's like two Lear jets and they had specific tail numbers, but they'd be like landing in like Qatar and then like or like taking off from Qatar and like landing in like you know like northeastern Canada, or they'd be in like Chile, and it'd be like, what are those? It's literally the CIA like, all right, we can't legally torture you in American soil, so we're gonna take you somewhere.
Yeah.
We just go somewhere where they're like, like Latvia, and they're like, here's $1,000,000, give us that apartment building, like black out the windows, and it's like, all right, and you just, but it's so odd and like clashing because you expect military intelligence, you expect some like stealth plane, and it's nope, it's just a Learjet coming and landing, but it's like it's almost like insidiously deceptive, like oh little like nope, that's got top Al Qaeda leader on it and he's about to go get his toes chopped off or something. But I don't know, man, that's some crazy shit.
Guys like me or other guys just find those planes, just no one special.
Yeah dude, I think that's the way to do it, man. I think that's the way to do it.
I definitely would. I mean, it's probably a stretch, but I'd love to do some FBI or CIA work.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's not a stretch. Just do it. Just fucking do it. You're 18, man.
You got to become an FBI officer first, though, or a CIA agent first.
You got your fucking license at 18. You can fly at 18, man. I started this podcast in December. I'm 29, and I'm like, I can do it. I'm young. You're 18, man. You can do it. Go do the CIA. Go do the FBI. If you don't do it, I will be very upset with you.
I'll give it a shot. Before you're graduated.
Yeah, and you got to think, man, if you go do something like that, go do some insane. I think they changed their name. They're not Blackwater anymore. I think it's
Academy.
Is that it now? I know it was it was XE for a while. I guess they changed it again. Whatever. We'll just call it Blackwater or Academy. Yeah. But if you go do something like that, man, but you, in all seriousness, if you go show that you can like, keep your wits about you, keep your balls, and like go, fly military contractors or go fly, CIA VIPs in and out of fucking places, extraction or something. How would you not be when you finally decide to settle down, get married, you just want a set job? What commercial airline is, sure, they all got seniority, but you know what they're gonna take? They're gonna be like, this motherfucker flew planes in and out of like war torn. This guy was part of the the embassy evacuation and name your city and whatever. They want someone like that, man. That's seniority bullshit. That's when you come in, you're like, yeah, dude, I kept my like, I'm buddies with like Delta Force, like because I was reliable for them. They're gonna look at you and be like, yeah, you can fly our 747-8, like you're not gonna crash it. Like you're not gonna flip out in a hurricane because you're like, dude, I fucking had SAM sites firing at me, like some shit like that.
Yeah, like just a walking conversation piece. I mean, yeah, the guys working regionals in 5 years are gonna be like, oh yeah, I flew from LaGuardia to LAX, and then I flew back, and it was pretty cool. Whereas me, I could be like, yeah, I flew from Qatar, and we flew SAM sites. Yeah, like you were saying, like, this cool shit instead of just boring ass shit.
Yeah, or it's gonna be like, I can't tell you where I flew, but like here's my honorable letter of recommendation from the Central Intelligence Agency. I can't tell you until 2045, but you can have it right off from their like division chief in South Africa. They can be like, no, he's good. He's got the stamp of approval. There's no reason why you wouldn't be able to do something like that. Yeah. Now, what about something like, it's a little, not as crazy as like CIA rendition or something, but still crazier, something like the Antonov 225, where there's only one of them. I mean, there's only
that's right.
That 6-engine beast. Like
that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's like $1 million each, like way it goes to like rent that thing out.
Yeah, but it's got.
I think it would be awesome to fly.
Yeah,
it's like one of the biggest aircraft ever made.
It's why it's the like regularly used. It's hands down. Like sure, there's some like the the Strato launched that one. There are a couple that like they broke the record for like the one time they flew, but the Antonov is like that thing was going every day, like in and out, like yeah. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, those Russian aircraft they built, amazing.
Yeah.
Like they're just so different from what I'm used to. Like U.S., like I see the same planes every day because I live in an airport.
Yeah.
So I see the same planes every day. But over there, it's like just different aircraft. Like all the Antovs, all those cool things. I'm sure it's so different. I mean, they don't really have like the technology. Some of them, it's really like what I saw. Like I saw a documentary about pilots flying in the Congo, and they're flying old things.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, technology from the 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's still cool to learn.
Yeah.
Those old things.
Yeah. Now, how difficult would it be to get? Is it like related to? I guess, again, my complete lack of aviation knowledge. How difficult is it seniority or is it actual like training that makes it difficult to like pilot like a 747 or A380 because it's just like the craft is so expensive and you have so many lives and it's like the risk becomes heavier and heavier for the airliner. It's now like this can't crash. This cost $100 million and there's 600 people on board. One crash, our stock goes down. Is that what makes it more difficult to be like a 747?
So there was a flight, exactly, maybe 10, 20 years ago, but that was the start to why it's so difficult to become a pilot in the aviation industry. So these two pilots, the Congress or NDSB FAA said these two pilots that were flying this airplane, they were too inexperienced, and that's because they weren't trained properly, blah, blah, and they crashed because they were too inexperienced. So then the FAA and Congress came together and they said, all right, so if you want to become an airline pilot, you must have these 1,500 hours. And those 1,500 hours doesn't seem like very much, but that's like
yeah, it does.
year or two of just working, maybe 3 part-time or full-time, but that's full-time. But it takes a long time to get this 1,500 hours, which is why I go to 1,000-hour school. So for me, for the road, there's a lot more. Like I've only had a couple steps of this staircase to get there. So I have my private, my instrument. I was in my commercial license, which means I can fly for hire. It means I can go out there as a air taxi and start making money. After that, you get my multi-engine license, which means I can fly aircraft with 2 engines or more. Then I have to get my CFI, so I can teach people. Then my CFII, which means I can teach people how to do instrument training. Then I have to get my ATP, which means I can fly commercial jets and stuff. There's 1,000 more things got to go. I barely even got there. So yeah, it's definitely so much work to get those airlines. And then once you get to the airline, this training is like 6 to 8 months or something, but crazy long. And so yeah, it definitely takes a long, long time to get there. And that's why people are really discouraged to even start it because it's so much work and so much money. Like I'll be in debt for the rest of my life doing this. Like my program costs at least like $250,000. That's when I get my licenses and my degree. So yeah, it's just so many variables in becoming a pilot. A lot of people don't want to do it because of those.
Yeah, but yeah, you gotta love it to stick with it through all that. Like it's not something you just pick up. Like,
and some guys just come here and they're like, yeah, I'm going to make $500,000 a year when I'm 40 or 50. Like I want to do it because of that. But then they get burnt out when they're just 10 years into it, and they're like, "Yes, boring. I hate this."
Yeah, fuck.
And for me, like, I love this. Like, it's sick. Like, I stopped. I got instrument last week, and I haven't flown in about a week until I start commercial, and I'm ready. Like, I want to fly again. Like, I want to get up there and start flying because I just love it so much.
Yeah.
And some guys don't have that. They're like, "Oh, I gotta fly tomorrow. Oh, I wish I don't have to."
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna make it very far when you're like that.
Yeah.
You gotta love it.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. Shit. Yeah, you were saying that. So I thought you. So you said multi-engine. So does that mean right now you can only do like, there'd have to be like a propeller, right? Is there any single jet engine craft or no? Is it just short of like military?
A single engine. I think single engine jet would be the Vision jet. I'm not too familiar with those, so I think that would count, I guess. But so for multi-engine, yeah, right now I can only fly a plane that only has 1 engine. And there's also other factors. It has to be under a certain weight. So I can only fly the small little things. But if I get multi-engine, I can fly larger aircraft still under a certain amount of weight. Because how they divide things up is by weight. So if it's below 12,500 pounds, to my knowledge, then you don't need to have a type rating. So what a type rating is that if it's above 12,500 pounds, plus other couple things, then you have to get a type rating. So you have to go somewhere and train how to fly this aircraft. So that would be like a 747, a 757, even just smaller jets like that.
Yeah.
And then there's another thing, the multi-engine. I can't fly it as more than one engine currently. So once you get that multi-engine, I'll be good to go. And so where I fly, they have really nice multi-engine aircraft. And so I'm looking forward to fly that because I've been accustomed to the same aircraft the past 3 years now, and I love it. It's awesome, but it just goes so slow. So once I start this new aircraft where it's going 150 knots, I forget exactly, 150, maybe 130, like I'm going to love it. It's just also just learning it and something new would be awesome.
So right now you're taking off do you take off from one airport and land at the same airport? Can you
Yeah, so during training, what you're going to do is typically practice at your same airport, take off, and then go to like a practice area and learn how to do certain maneuvers. But eventually, when you're flying, we're getting more into the training. What you're going to have to do is cross country. So you're going to fly from your airport to a different airport, certain distance away, and then you're going to have to fly back. So you learn how to do cross countries. I've done a lot so far because you got to train for them. So the past one I did, I think it was about 300 miles from a long IFR cross country. So we flew across the state. That was fun.
Yeah.
And then for this commercial check ride, it's going to be up to at least 300 miles or something like that. I forget exactly, but so that'll be fun. So I think my friends was 6 hours of just flying for one flight.
Yeah.
So cool to do. I've done a bunch of cross countries. Let me see where I've gone.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, because so back home, because I'm in college right now, so I love to fly. So my friends and I, we take off, we visit friends. We took off from Trenton and flew all the way down to, it was near.
You can just go visit your friends?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's so cool, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because he was like, yo, yeah, I live in Pennsylvania. That's where I live. He was like, yeah, I live there. Come visit us. I was like, sure. So we took off and visited him and came back, and that was so much fun. I've done that to my other friends too, because they're in college. So I take off, visit them in my plane, the plane I rent. But yeah, they're fun.
So cool, dude.
Yeah, coolest thing, man.
Dude, you are going to be able to impress any chick you want.
Absolutely, brother.
Dude, that is yeah, it was like a big thing in the 50s to like have a car in high school. Now it seems like it's the standard. Dude, you're gonna be like the Fonz with like the convertible. I'm just making shit up, but you're gonna be like, yeah, I have a plane, or I can fly a plane, dude. You're gonna clean up. So if you start training now, can I hire you to be like my private pilot whenever this podcast takes off?
Sorry, you're breaking up. What's up?
Oh yeah, you just broke up too. When this podcast takes off, can I hire you to be like my private pilot?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're flying a Gulfstream 650, absolutely, I will fly you anywhere you want.
That's what I'll have to get. I'll have to, yeah. If I can grow this exponentially, that'll be the end goal. Get like some G6 shit. Yeah. Fuck yeah. That would be baller. That would be baller to have a private plane. Like, there's nothing. Yeah, just go wherever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want.
Like, you get up to like between two ferns, if you're doing something like that eventually.
Yeah.
We're like, oh yeah, I'm a multimillionaire. Fly over here, do a podcast with him.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I used to work at a little grocery store, and it was kind of upscale. A lot of the guys there were really wealthy who shop there, and so a lot of them were like, oh yeah, I have this company. We're thinking about getting a plane. And I've always wanted to be like, well, if you get an airplane, just let me know because I'll be your pilot. And it was kind of funny. It's like there's a cashier.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, by the way, like I'm a pilot too, so if you want to fly somewhere, just let me know. Dude. It was just, I always wanted to do that to someone. Hopefully it works out.
Yeah.
Go back home, but yeah, well, that'd be cool. Fly with someone. Yeah.
What about being like a corporate pilot? Because like the upper echelons of all the huge corporations they all have, because it's, I mean, it's like a savvy business move. They can go have face-to-face meetings with clients, and yeah, they don't got to go through security at the airport. You can just hop right in. Business jets, you zip up to. Don't they go higher than? Don't they have their own like? I don't know. You tell me. Don't business can't or private jets or anything can't? Don't they go like higher than normal commercial jets and they can just zip around? Or am I just bullshitting?
I'm not sure exactly. So typically, just fly at 30,000, 20,000
Yeah.
feet. That's normally where they fly. So small aircraft fly lower because we can't go that high. Below 20,000 typically is where we fly. Typically below 10,000 really, but we can go up to 13, 12,000 if we wanted to.
Yeah.
So corporate seems cool and all, and I love to fly a brand new G650. However, when you fly corporate, you're always on standby. So they say if your client is, let's say, I don't know, Danny DeVito, he's like, hey man, I gotta go to LAX tomorrow. We're gonna go.
Yeah.
I gotta be like, okay, sure, we're going tomorrow. I gotta cancel my plans. I can't do nothing. So that's my biggest problem with it. Also, when you're flying corporate, typically you're just there's a pilot, a co-pilot. That's it. There's no flight attendant, no one. So when they make a mess back there, you're the one cleaning up. You're the one catering that aircraft, calling around saying, I need lobster, I need caviar, everything aboard this aircraft. You're picking it up, you're putting it on the plane.
But you're probably getting the paper though. If you're doing all that, you're getting paid. But
you know what's funny? They're not actually making as much as airline pilots,
really?
Which is the crazy thing. Yeah, they make less. I mean, it's completely different place where you go, but typically they make less than airlines. But, what's also really cool is I was talking to my mom and her friend. She was a flight attendant aboard one of those nice private aircraft. And so the guy was like, hey, I got to go to Colorado right now. So they're like, all right. So they go to the airport. They don't have time to go get any of their bags, nothing. So they get to the airport. They take off, go to Colorado. The owner is like, all right, here's my credit card. Buy whatever the fuck you want, because you have nothing with you. So they just went out on a shopping spree going whatever they want, thousands of dollars. I'm not sure how much, but yeah, that's the kind of cool thing I'm missing out too.
Yeah.
Because you're living, so, I mean, it depends. Sometimes you're living with the same guys. So if you're living in the same hotel, and they live in nice hotels. So
yeah.
Be in nice hotels. So
yeah, you got to get those private plane owners.
Minuses to everything, right?
Yeah.
So also, when you're in an airline, you're only flying a certain route. So you're only going from Newark to Paris, you're going to Newark to London, a bunch of Europe. But when you're private, you can go anywhere. You can fly to Kenya, fly to South Korea.
Yeah.
Different kind of routes that you wouldn't normally do in an airline. So, yeah, I mean, that's whatever I want to do. If I want to do that later in life, maybe I will.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe the move isn't corporate so much as just like private for just some baller. Just some.
That's more difficult because
because everyone wants that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that'd be so cool and all to like fly celebrities and stuff. But
yeah.
Still, I mean, that'd be cool.
You'd have to get a cool celebrity. You'd have to get like The Rock or like, you got to get The Rock or like, I don't know, like Post Malone or like Tom Brady or some shit. You got to get someone like that because that would be baller. That would be, yeah. But I don't know.
That would really.
But how do you even? I feel like there's not even a set path to get to that. That's just like you network. You know the right people. You have a stellar resume.
Yeah, it's gotta. Yeah, some of the guys for corporate, it's crazy. My one friend, when I was working at that airport, he was a CFI, and eventually he became a corporate pilot. And the money some people have is incredible. So he would fly a single package from one side of the country to the other. He flew these two teenagers 20 minutes because they wanted to arrive in a jet at this party, and then a G-Wagon pulls up and picks them up because they were like, yeah, we flew in a jet, that's all. So you're also seeing the people that you'd never normally see, which is crazy. And they got money that I couldn't even imagine.
Just stupid cash.
Yes, it's crazy. So I mean, the tips maybe are pretty good. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. But what happens if I feel like if you got a self-made guy that was just worth hundreds of millions, I feel like that would be really cool. But I feel like if you got his son, who just has never done anything in his life, and he's 40 and he's just inherited everything, and he's just we're going to Vegas. I feel like that guy wouldn't be cool.
I don't think so.
I feel like that guy would be an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you gotta get like a Dan Bilzerian cat or something. Or does Joe Rogan have a plane?
A lot of the celebrities just typically just charter an
Charter.
plane.
I feel like that's
Yeah,
probably smarter,
cheaper.
unless
Yeah,
you've got like unless your net worth is like upwards of 500 million,
yeah, they typically they're
because
like,
it'll drain your cash, right?
oh yeah,
If you
things
just
are not
have
cheap, man.
yeah, if you just yeah, because even if you're worth like $50 million, but if you have this like $5 million jet and it's just constantly being repaired and maintained and everything that goes with that, I feel like that could it'd be like those idiots who like they win $2 million, so they go buy a Lamborghini, and it's like there goes like 30% of your money just like that.
Okay.
Like go get a mansion, now you're down to next to nothing. Like yeah,
Not even for the wealthy guys, but even for guys like me, flying is for some reason really expensive. Like back in the like olden days, like 60s and 50s, I guess it used to be more definitely more popular. Planes weren't as expensive.
yeah,
But nowadays, because there's so much like legality with it,
safety,
liability.
yeah, it's all factored in.
Yeah, a brand new Cessna is like $500,000,
Jesus.
which is absurd. Like it shouldn't. Like it should be the same price as like a Mercedes. Like
Yeah,
$1,000 would be normal, I think. But it's not fair. Like, if 1 hour flight time back where I was flying is like $200, and that's just like crazy. Like, because I wish I could fly more and just like,
yeah,
I want to fly to Ohio and see this for the day. That's
Yeah.
going to be $2,000. So,
yeah.
like, I wish it was cheaper because that'd be cooler to like do stuff.
Yeah. At the same time, it is like the power of flight. Like, it's like it's like how many millennia did we stare up at the sky wondering and prayed, literally had gods modeled after birds, and now you can get up and like pretty much like a glorified like car like interior and just be like we're going up and we're just going up now, we're above. Like when you fly, I mean that is we get used to it, but that's the power of the divine. Like you are beyond royalty. Like that is any other point in human history before 1902. That's divinity.
If they saw me flying in the 1800s, they would have been like, "What the fuck is that? We're gonna pray to the sky. He's our new hero."
Yeah, exactly. The king
man.
Doesn't have shit on you. King can have a nice boat, but you can fucking fly. Bullshit. You win. Yeah, man. That's so. I guess from that point, I kind of view the cost as like it is the miracle of flight. What about
you ever been in a small little plane?
No, I don't think I have.
Funny, like when I started flying, I got up in the air and I thought like the landscape would have so much more like depth to it. It was like, oh, this little hill that I used to go down on my skateboard is so much like steeper. It goes so much further down. But no, when you get up in the air, it depends where you live, but it's just so much more flat than you think it was. Like there's still mountains and stuff, but they're just little bumps. I thought it was so much crazier, but it's not. It's just kind of disappointing too. When you get up there, it's like, oh, it's all kind of flat.
Yeah.
I would more like, if you get to freaking Utah or something, Arizona is going to be like, the mountains they have there. But
yeah, it's, I forget what the statistic is, but it's something like if you shrunk the Earth down to like the size of like I forget like a basketball or something, the point between like the highest, no, I think it was a cue ball. If you got the Earth down to the size of a cue ball, it would actually be smoother than a cue ball. I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson said the distance between the highest peak, so Mount Everest, and the deepest trough, so Marianas Trench, he said it would be, you wouldn't even be able to register the bump with your thumb.
Really? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I get that. What about something like a B-2 Spirit, like a $2 billion plane?
Yeah, that'd be cool to fly. I guess military, like civilians don't really know that much about military because they have like even us, like we learn about the different like routes they fly, and like it's for military areas only. But like you don't understand obviously you can probably find out, but like they have like different instruments they use for like different approaches and stuff and other stuff, and like it's just so secretive what they do.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm sure the technology they have is amazing.
It's
like, I died to
insane.
see the inside of an F-35 and what everything it can do. Not just the stuff they show to us, but
Yeah,
everything it can do.
dude.
I think they have helmets that they can just, like, look to their right or left and see through the airplane.
Oh yeah,
and see around.
the F-22. It's
Like-
the pilots say it feels like you're Superman because you don't actually see the jet. You just
That's just the coolest thing. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the helmets cost. I think what was the figure? The helmets cost something like $400,000, almost as much as the Cessna. Yeah, dude. Have you thought about doing anything with like the Air Force so you can go do that shit, or is that just like not your cup of tea?
I'd love to, but I mean, honestly, like, I wouldn't mind doing it.
Yeah.
But I have asthma, so they wouldn't like see highly of me with that, which kind of sucks. It was only childhood asthma as well, which sucks because I mean I don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
So probably can't do it because of that. But
Yeah.
I would love to fly as F-35 or even a C-17. Like everyone wants to fly the fighter jets, but like those big cargo jets seem so cool.
C-17, C-5 Galaxy, get one of those big fuckers.
Yeah.
Things can carry 2 tanks. Yeah, man. I don't know. What about something like
one? That'd be sick.
What?
Air Force One, flying that'd be amazing.
I was gonna ask that earlier. I was like, what? I mean, you just have to be like the best pilot ever. Like no argument. It's just like this is the currently this is the best pilot alive. Not only that, you got to have a pilot. Squeaky clean record. This guy has saluted his flag every morning for 30 years. Like this, yeah. You probably can't even have like an extended family member from a different country. You
can't have a thing in your record, nothing at all, because you're flying president of the United States. That's a lot of weight there.
I had a guy on that does Air Force intelligence, and he was like, to get a Yankee white clearance, which means you can like work in the White House. You can have a perfect record. You can have like military service, prove your patriotism. You can just no mishaps ever. But if you have an immediate family member who was born in a different country, you can, like one guy said was like a perfect dude, was like ex like Army Ranger, like smart as hell, went and got a degree, like as clean cut American as you can get, but his mom was from Ireland.
Wow,
none. You can't get in.
That really pissed me off.
Yeah, man. It's the president of the United States. There's no risk in it. Yeah, so I don't know. How the fuck would you even get to Air Force? Like, I feel like you'd have to have military service, right?
Yeah, they are Air Force pilots, I believe.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Yeah. That's the whole operation they have there is amazing. Like, so they have 2 Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
And then they have like a C-5 or C-17 that follows them with like the
motorcade,
the Beast, and the whole motorcade.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I saw it happen once, and that was awesome. Like the Air Force One landed, they had the C-17 and everything. It was just such a cool. It was just amazing to see this whole thing happen.
It is.
The kind of work they have that go into that is crazy.
Yeah,
like, they have guys everywhere, making sure that you can't like go on top of the roof. You can't window. You can't do this. Just so much work goes into them. Like coming down to somewhere for 3 hours. That. So much like a single crazy.
Yeah,
that must be a nightmare.
Yeah, they say that every trip on Air Force One it's actually designated as a military mission, and so it's not a flight. It's planned out like a military mission. They plan it no different than like we're going to Kabul or like Ramadi or so it's. Yeah, they know ahead of time how many weeks ahead they're going. I know I've watched the documentaries I've watched. And I know that they send out teams up to like 2 weeks beforehand, and it's literally they start just scouting the city just to make sure there's nothing building up, and it's like just undercover, just kind of like almost like just putting like their finger on the pulse, just like what's going on. Even if it's fucking like Atlanta, they still go, and it's just like they keep it's just eyes and ears on the ground. And then as it gets closer, they start to set up like tiers of security. So there's like the outer ring, and that would be like the airport and everything within like 1,000 yards of it. And then it's like that's where they'll have like counter snipers and stuff, and it's like the inner ring, and then that's where they'll start to have like the SUVs with like, you know, fucking Navy SEALs and shit in them, and then like the inner ring where it's just like only like the most cleared agents that can even be close to the president with a firearm, and it's at that point it's like every inch in that like inner circle is like taken in account for. It's like who's going where, what's, you know, like you can't get anywhere close to there, and yeah, it's insane because that whole apparatus moves with the president. Like that's insane. Like it's one thing if it's like, oh, that were to happen, you know, you think like inauguration day, like the security around those. It's always like, yeah, they're insane. Trump, Obama, Bush, they're always crazy. But to think about like that's every flight, every day, that's insane. Yeah. They got C5s coming in, just rolling out SUVs. They have their own ambulance because you can't trust the ambulances anywhere. Like that's, yeah, man. And then you want to be the pilot of that. That's.
Yeah, like imagine being a Secret Service agent, and like you can't even go to the president, even though you're a Secret Service agent.
Yeah,
like just so much vetting goes into that.
Yeah. I always think about that. Like, there's got to be different like rungs of like being cleared within the Secret Service. It's like you're Secret Service, but you still can't get close to the president. Like, who is standing next to the president with a firearm?
The best of the best, I suppose. I
mean, I feel like you pretty much like. I don't even know like what would be because I don't even know how you would apply for that, because if you apply for that means that there's a system to get in, which means someone could plan for it. I feel like you're just picked, like you don't even know, and it's just like, hey, you're gonna be on, like, you're standing outside the bedroom, like you don't even know.
Because if you're like, oh, I want to be a Secret Service agent, I want to be next to the president, they're going to be like, oh, you want to be next to the president?
Why do you want to be next to the president? Exactly. Yeah. You visited, and on a podcast in 2020, you said you wanted to be a charter flight in the Middle East. Like, why is that, sir? You'd be like, oh, what? It was a podcast. Nope. Oh, and you want to be next to the president? Bullshit. Mm-hmm. No, you're gonna go work at the post. Yeah. It's gonna be you're working at the postal office, fucker. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's so let's say you do all the crazy shit. You want to do, and you eventually settle down. You did all your whatever. You worked for Academy. You worked for CIA. You did some stuff that's just blacked out. And you work for an airliner. What is like the ideal? Like, nothing ever goes as planned, but we still all make plans anyway. So fuck it. Not like any of us learn. So, what's the ideal? Like, it doesn't matter what age, whatever. You've just done all the crazy. You got it all out of your system. Is there a specific like model of aircraft? Is there a specific route? Like, I want to work for, just for example, I want to work for Etihad Airways. I want to fly the Airbus A380, and I want to live in United Arab Emirates, and I just want to perfect the Abu Dhabi to Melbourne route. Do you have like a set, like, this is what I want to do, or do you just kind of loosely like, when I get to that age, I'll find out?
I do have a plan. So my plan, I either want to work in honestly, like, Washington seems pretty cool to work in, like Seattle or something.
Oh, yeah?
We see, like, there's Seattle, San Francisco, or Newark. Either of those three. It seems like a really cool place to live. I know the Newark airport has some of the best routes like there is in the United States. I guess they can go to Europe, they can go to Asia. They also, I think, have an Africa route now. So I think one of those hubs would be nice to live in. As for airplane, I'd love to fly the 787. Honestly, I think in the coming years or in the next decade or two, they're starting to make supersonic aircraft again.
I hope, dude. I hope, man.
That's like, I don't know. That sucks. They got rid of them, man. Like,
we took a step back. Yeah, we took a step backwards.
Yeah. Dude, like, I really do see the ability of that coming back. Oh, even space travel, like, that could be a real thing too.
Oh yeah.
That could be commercial. So you're gonna be the best pilot there is, though. Like, I swear. But but realistically, a 787 from either of those three hubs, One of the major airlines, a certain one like Delta, United, American, one of those three specifically. That'd be just really cool. The routes I'd love to have, I don't know, because obviously if you fly from Newark to India, it's longer hours, tiring, but you're only there for a day, but you're making more money too. That seems like a cool thing to do, but it's just so tiring. So
Yeah,
maybe
it's gotta
even
be
just Newark
exhausting.
to like Europe, like London for the day, or Paris, Porto, whatever. Like that'd be pretty cool too. It depends what I want to do. I'm not sure. I don't mind doing anything.
Yeah, I feel like the way to go would just be going like directly north and south, so you can stay in the time zone. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like from Newark to Brazil. I'm not
yeah,
sure this time
yeah,
zone, but yeah.
yeah. Literally, or just go, yeah, the middle of Canada down to like Mexico City or some shit like that. Um, is the 787 the Dreamliner?
I think so. I'm
Yeah,
not too sure, but I believe it is a Dreamliner.
yeah. Well, yeah, they're yeah. What about the Have you seen those ginormous new engines? I say new. I think they've been in development for like 10 years. They're. Have you ever seen that? Like they're. I think the it's a GE9. It's they're gonna put them on the 77 or I guess 777s. They're dude. If you haven't seen, like, they look like, if you go and look at them on YouTube, like they'll have them on test beds on, like, a 747 or something. They'll have three normal engines, and then this thing. Dude, the thumbnails look like clickbait. Like, when I first saw it, I was like, this is stupid. Dude, they are. I think they're bigger than the fuselage of some current commercial craft. I'm not kidding. Like, you could legitimately make a cone of like five normal jet engines, but they almost look ridiculous. If you put them on a 747, they said they'd only need two. You just have these two, yeah, dude. They're
Like even 747 engine, that thing is massive by itself, and I couldn't imagine something bigger than that.
dude. It is. I'm not kidding. They're the side. They put them side by side, and they're bigger. They're wider than the fuselage of some smaller aircraft. Like
Yeah.
some of the ones Delta operates, like the fuselage could fit inside. They're
The thrust from that thing must be incredible.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't know what the purpose of making that is. I don't even know what I'm asking about that. Um,
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it makes you go faster. I suppose.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's now. Would you want to? So you said the 787. In my mind, like my childish mind, I've always like biggest, baddest, fastest. Like,
Yeah.
why? Why would you not? Even the way I'm wording it, I'm like, why would you not do this? Like, but yeah, why would you not go for like a 747 or an A380? Or is it just like,
Oh, yeah, you're right. So honestly, like I haven't really seen them in person really that much. I've never really seen an eight.
I've never seen an A380.
Well, I just not really familiar with them. But the 747, they're starting to get kind of pushed out. Like United race, like this year, last year, I think it was last year. They decided to cut the program for the 747, so they no longer even fly them. So I can only imagine they'll just start cutting them in different airlines. So I don't see that being really a future career path. But this A380, that seems pretty cool too. But again, I think they're starting to cut those down too.
They
Honestly.
cut the last. They cut the last order. They said they'll. I think Emirates said they'll fulfill the last order for them that they've already placed. But after that, they're like, we're not. So they're cutting down the production lines.
Because what they're learning is that like having a bigger aircraft has more fuel, other variables. It's just I think it's much cheaper and much makes more sense to have just smaller aircraft going faster, lighter, less fuel consumption. I think they're learning that that's better than having a huge chunky airplane flying with 500 people aboard.
Yeah.
So they're going to make them small, like a 737 Max, like. That thing, I think it can fly from Newark to London. They wouldn't really do that, but it could fly that route. So smaller, less people, like that's going to be the ideal situation when I'm flying in 10 years in those airlines. So smaller, I think, is better for now, I think.
Yeah.
They're going to cut things down.
No, it makes sense because it's like, unless you're driving from like Atlanta to New York, it's really not. Yeah, if you're driving from Atlanta to New York, it makes sense to like run a bus, put a bunch of people on it, and just one shot. But if you're operating within a city, it's much more intelligent to buy 50 cars and rent them out as Ubers or something. Just a bunch of little, just a bunch of little, very direct routes as opposed to like. Yeah, it makes sense. I hate it because I would love to see the aircraft just get bigger and crazier, but it seems like that's not going to be an option.
Yeah, I mean, sucks kind of, but I mean, it's still cool. It's still because even here's a better idea. So because they're getting smaller and not as big, that means smaller airports can now hold these small airplanes.
True.
So where I lived, I was really annoyed because it was supposed to. They had it's a small little airport, but at one point they decided, hey, we want to extend this airport, make it larger, make it bigger, maybe even have a control tower there. And so that would have created like a bunch more money, a bunch more economy would have boomed in our town. So that would have been awesome. But had that happened, we could have had 787s coming in. I mean, it depends how big they made the airport, but it would have been so much cooler. But even just having these small planes or smaller planes coming into these smaller airports, that'd be cool and see aviation come alive again because it's just kind of dying out.
Yeah,
like smaller planes. I mean, it used to be bigger. I mean, it's still big, but it's not as big. I'd love to see it just become more popular. Yeah. So, I mean, I wish there was like a cheap alternative to travel from, let's say, I don't know, from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and I don't want to drive, and I don't want to pay the the ticket for an airplane. So you get like a small little airplane, like a TBM, a Pilatus, a Cessna Caravan, like full of 8 people or something, and you all fly there, and it's $100 each. Like that would be ideal, but no one offers that really because everyone either charters it by themselves or they have these huge airplanes going from these small airports to small airports. And so I just there was just an alternative to having these like either expensive or full of people. Like it'd be cool to have that. I'm not sure how to even do that because obviously it never really worked because it's just so expensive. But something like that would be cool.
Maybe that's what you should pioneer. Is just you should make an airline, but just specifically go from like sub 1 hour flights. Just don't do anything over that. Just literally just get like a fleet of like Cessnas. It would just be stuff like, I mean, there are little flights. I went to school at the University of Georgia, which is in Athens, Georgia, which is like a 90-minute car ride from Atlanta. But you could take a little plane from Athens to Atlanta because, Hartsfield, Jackson. If you need it, like, if you're going to take a flight anywhere, you take it out of Atlanta. So it was already right there. But yeah, that was an option. You could fly from, it was like 30 minutes, but
how much was it though? Was the thing? It's probably like $100, right?
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah.
So, we've got to figure something out to make it happen. But that'd be cool. I would love to even do that because, like, I want to do aviation, but I'm not going to become a multimillionaire being a pilot, and I'll make good money. But I still want to do something else. So I'm not sure what that is yet. But I'll say that. You'll see that in 30 years if I go through with it.
Yeah. What about doing something like would you ever be like a test pilot?
Yeah, I mean, that would be really cool. I mean, I don't know. Because it's kind of risking your life. Like, that was Neil Armstrong doing that stuff. Like, I mean, definitely a cool idea. I mean, definitely with space travel happening. I mean, they're going to need more of those.
Test pilot. Yeah, dude. So, be some Chucky Yeager guy.
It's all about who you network with. Like, they have a convention here, and they have a bunch of guys coming out. We're like, hey, work for my company. I mean, maybe I'll get hired and do that. But I wouldn't mind doing anything. As long as I'm getting hours and making money and I'm surviving. Test pilot, because going to space would be awesome. Like, did you see that one crash recently? It was Mad Mike. He crashed, so he wanted to test.
I saw that. I saw the name yesterday. Yeah, I don't know.
So this guy, the flat earther, wanted to prove the world was flat, so he got himself in a rocket.
God damn.
And then launched up. But as he launched up, the parachute deployed, so they kind of fucked up the whole thing. So then it came down and sploot and he died. So,
God damn it.
Yeah, so stuff like cool space stuff like that would be nice. I don't know.
That's your example for like I want to do cool space stuff. Die in a rocket face. That was a bad example.
There's also a risk to it, but also if you're a crazy guy and you made a space rocket in your garage is probably not going to work out too well for you. But
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I don't know. Do you think they're going to bring back supersonic?
absolutely, I think they will.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, for the common person, probably we'll see that in the later years. But for the one percenters who want to go from Newark to LAX and they don't mind paying the $50,000 that it costs, they wouldn't mind doing it at all.
Yeah. Well, not only that, it would
not for the common people recently, but yeah, definitely someone for eventually. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got to think it would be economical if you're a Bill Gates or an Elon Musk type guy, and it's like you're wheeling and dealing, and you're making money with these trips. If you could, and where the price is, I mean, it's almost negligible to you. Whether you have a private plane or whether you have an A380, it's like, some Jeff Bezos guy. But there is value in like how quickly can you get there. It's like, well, why do corporations have these jets? And so, the CEO of Walmart can go in and you don't got to stand in line at the airport. You fly right there, fly right back. Yeah, if you're an Elon Musk guy or a Jeff Bezos guy and you can go from LA to New York in like, 2 hours or something, yeah, there would be value to that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see it in a commercial for the common person. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like they need that.
Someone ever be able to supersonic aircraft. Like, I mean, it probably will happen, but you never know. I'd love to experience that.
Yeah. I feel like they need something like that to sort of bring back, because like you said, aviation seems like it's dying, or commercial aviation. And it's even now, it's like, yeah, we're going to stop using the 747. We're going to stop production of the A380. It's just like these just absolute like monsters of this. And it's like, what? We're stopping those? Like, it's like,
I want to see that.
Yeah, it's like cruise ships get bigger and bigger. Like, that's why Titanic was so bad at it, because it was just the biggest one ever. And I feel like, yeah, you need something else that brings some like spice into it. And like, for obvious reasons, it's not going to be the A380 or 747, because it's just, like you said, it's better to have a fleet of smaller aircraft. So you'd have to sort of you have to capture the imagination again, and what other way to do it than to have supersonic? I mean, if you ever watched any of those you can find them on YouTube. You ever watch any of those old videos? People took like, handheld video of their flights, and it's just like, they have like the little screen like up, like, that separates, I guess, the section or whatever on like the wall of the cabin, and they have like a little screen, and it literally says it's like 60,000 feet, like Mach 2. Like, that's insane. Yeah. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I think they need something like that to sort of like, I don't know, bring back the romance, or like something to just shake it up.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Right now, commercial flying is kind of miserable, right? Like, you're just kind of put in there like sardines.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, I wish that they would get like TSA. I mean, yeah, they're like vetting people, making sure they're not a threat. But I mean, it's just really just security theater. Like, they fail all the tests they have.
Yeah,
and it's just a pain in the ass. Like, getting to the airport takes like an hour to get there. Like, an hour just like in line for TSA, making sure everything's got your ticket and everything. It's just such a long process. And if we just got rid of all like the bullshit, and then you just get on your plane and go to your destination, like, it'd be so much easier. But unfortunately, it's not the case. It's not the world we live in. But if that was the case, it'd be much nicer to have have it nicer.
Yeah, you can't really do that anymore, though. Like, because if we got rid of any of that shit, the first time something happens, it's all going to be on the back of whoever,
Absolutely, yeah.
You're only 18, so you weren't alive during 9/11, right?
I was alive, but I remember it.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm acting like I was 11. I barely remember it. I don't know why I'm trying to act like, oh, you young timers don't. But I mean, I have like very vague memories of like my dad going to the airport in like the 90s on like business, and like my mom taking me and my brothers, and we literally walk up to the gate with them.
Yeah, like, that's cool.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. You go watch one or two videos on YouTube of like people jumping out of the North Tower or something, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, how bad is the security wait really? And, you know,
Yeah.
what, $6 trillion spent in the Middle East, 5,000 soldiers dead. Very quickly, you can see where people would be like, yeah, TSA is not so bad. But it's like what you said, it is kind of theater because they fail everything.
Yeah.
Whenever the FBI does any test, they fail spectacularly. They
Yeah.
almost fail across. It's almost impressive how well they fail. Like they succeed at failing.
Yeah, they do. Like they don't catch anything at all.
Yeah, nothing. And that's what's terrifying is because idiots like me and you, we would get caught. But if you had any sort of training,
Yeah.
ex special forces, or you're some fundamentalist and you've got you're gonna make a statement. Any sort of training, I feel like you'd be able to get by the TSA.
Just think how many drugs are smuggled across the country. Like even just in suitcases, happens all the time.
Dude, I had friends in college that would be like, flew out to Colorado and be like, brought some, literally bring some, they come back with some weed or something and be like, do you try this? This is from a dispensary in Colorado. I'd be like, I thought you guys flew out there. And they're like, we did. It's like,
that's crazy.
And it's like, what? And it's like, yeah, we just don't be stupid. And I'm like, you guys, you got through fucking the fucking airport. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess all my memories of flying were, 99% of all flying I've done has been through Hartsfield Jackson. So any memories I have of that is probably skewed because that's not an average airport. That is a global hub. It's literally where Delta's based. So I guess I look at it as whatever is done there works, but I don't think that can be applied to every airport in the world. Do you know what I'm saying?
It works in some airports.
It's so big. Yeah, there's so much security there, and everything runs fairly well. I can see where it's maybe that doesn't work everywhere, but
obviously some airports are worse than others, and I found that in Europe it's pretty streamlined and pretty fast.
Yeah.
For some reason in the U.S. we haven't really got the science down yet, but eventually we're there.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Flying in Europe is really cool because you just fly from each country. There wasn't even probably because it's in the EU, but you just land, take off in Paris, land in Switzerland. There's no passport control or nothing. You just get up and land. We were confused. Obviously for them it's normal because it's the EU, but
yeah.
For us, it's I went from a different country to a different other country, and there was no passport. It can be anybody. Wow, it's so different.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, but then again, America's the size of Europe.
Yeah, when I was younger, I was so confused. I was like, so these are states in Europe? It's no, those are countries. I'm like, why are we so much bigger then?
Yeah.
I was so confused.
Yeah, dude, I feel so stupid. I don't think I was in my 20s until I saw a map over the USA overlaid onto Europe, and I was like, holy shit! Our states are bigger than those countries. I was like, oh, goddamn, yeah. So, hold on. So, what about something so? Lockheed Martin announced in November 2013 that they've begun development on the SR-72, the successor to the SR-71, and it's gonna go twice as fast. So Mach 6. Yeah. Mach 6. Yeah. So yeah, hypersonic's Mach 5. So this is hypersonic and change, but it's gonna have drone capabilities, but it's also going to have pilot capability. All the new stuff we're making, the 6th generation fighters, the ones that are going to come after the F-22, it's called, the unofficial name right now is PCA, Penetrating Counter Air. They look weird as shit, but they're going to have drone capabilities, but they're also going to be piloted. And then Northrop Grumman's B-21 Raider, the successor to the B-2 Spirit. That one's going to be piloted, but also have drone capabilities. So they all seem like we're kind of going towards this drone area. But if they still need pilots, dude, if I'm you, I'm I'm trying to get into like that now, being an SR-72 pilot, streaking at Mach
Yeah,
6.
that'd be super cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that military stuff's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, like I wish we still had. I mean, obviously they're making the new stuff now, but you think back to like the 70s and 50s, 60s, all those cool military planes they had. Those were amazing. You ever see the one thing? I'm not sure the name of it, but it was like attached to the under the wing of like a B-2 or something, and like it like detached, and it was just a rocket with
Oh,
like
the
wings.
X-15.
That thing, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
I wish stuff like that. That stuff's cool.
yeah,
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 so I'm glad to see they're making new stuff like that, like the SR-72.
yeah.
That'd be amazing. Like the fact that they can be like droned, like, that's awesome. Like, you ever see those helicopters they have that don't have pilots? Like they take
No.
off, but they're helicopters.
What? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So it's like a UAV, but I mean it is a UAV, but it's a helicopter. Like incredible. Like stuff
Jesus.
like imagine like piloting an SR-72 when you're in Arizona
Yeah,
and it's flying over Asia. Like that'd be cool.
yeah, yeah. I mean, dude, the X-15. What's crazy about that is like those were piloted, so those took off, and those guys are literally just sitting on the wings in this little tiny thing. And I listened to a book on it. I think it's just called X-15. Maybe it's like X-15 Diaries or something. But it's like all these guys talking about their experiences in it, and it's like, dude, it's the outsides of them were made of Inconel. I didn't know what that was. It's a metal, or it's like an alloy. They talk about like you like. Okay, they're like think about like a forge, like a steel forge or steel something.
Okay.
You see them dumping all the molten metal and stuff, right? You got to heat it up. They're like, have you ever wondered like, well, what's holding it? Because that's not melting.
Yeah.
That's made of Inconel.
So they must hold an Inconel then.
Yeah.
So that's stronger than that, but damn, that's strong, man.
So they're like, so the X-15 was coated with Inconel.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, dude, but they talk about like, so SR-71, they got up to what? It's 85,000 feet, and I think Mach 3.3 was the record. With the X-15, the record is they got to Mach 6.72 and 315,000 feet.
315,000
315,000 feet. That's
What?
insane.
Holy shit.
That's insane. Mach 6. And this was in the 50s. Like
In the 50s?
X-15 was Mach or was 50s, yeah, 50s and 60s.
The X-15 went up to 300. Wait.
The X-15 was in the 1950s and 1960s. Yeah, and it got up to 315,000 feet.
I did not know. Holy shit.
That's what's crazy is I remember watching like an SR-71 documentary and I was like, this is crazy because it was all in the 70s and stuff, and it was like, and they're like, and if you go back a decade, the records actually get crazier. That's what always blew my mind. Was like, so you go back 10 years, but the shit gets nuts. But yeah, dude. I mean, those are the first astronauts. Those are the first people, the Americans that got, I guess, astronaut, wings or patches, because they went to space. But yeah. So something like the SR-72, man. That, I don't know.
How high is that going to go, you think?
That, Jesus, dude, I don't know. That's. Well, the thing about it is it's not just going to be reconnaissance. It's also, they said it's going to be a strike platform. So,
yeah, 1,000 of them by now.
Yeah, well, imagine streaking in over China at like Mach 6, dropping some kinetic package. I mean, I got to imagine they go over like 100,000 feet or something. Like, I don't know.
You're just minding your own business, and all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, done.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah. So, how do you feel about, like, I guess the drone applications of flight for, like, commercial? Do you think commercial's ever going to go drone?
So, no. So, the least they're ever going to have, I personally think, is just one pilot. I don't think they'll ever have no pilots. Because, for example, even, like, the recent 737 MAX crash, like that, like, we were getting towards, like, all this new technology and stuff in these aircraft, and that happened, and then everyone's scared.
Yeah.
It was like, oh no, like I don't trust the autopilot, and so with that, I mean that kind of delayed us. So I don't think we're really ever going to see at least less than one pilot. So I wouldn't scare it. Like at least in my lifetime, I don't think just one pilot is going to happen. I think I'll always have a job. I definitely was scared about that. I was like, I'm going into this career where at any time my job can be taken away if a technology comes out that replaces me. So, but I don't really think it's ever going to happen, and hopefully it does never happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm pretty safe in that aspect. I mean, definitely in like 100 years or so, definitely something else could happen. But
Yeah.
I think but just that'd be cool overall. Just no pilots at all. At that point, the system would be so different. We wouldn't even be able to recognize it. It'd be just, all the infrastructure and everything would be different. So
yeah,
probably planes by then would be going up in the freaking stratosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we wouldn't be able to you couldn't predict. Whenever you look back at like predictions of the year 2000 from the year like 1900 or something, you ever see all those old-timey predictions?
Yeah.
And how they're never correct? It's because they're extrapolating using their current technology. So everything is about like trains and like blimps and stuff. And they just scale it all up. It'll be bigger, faster trains and bigger blimps and bigger boats. And it's like, no, like they didn't foresee commercial air travel. Like you didn't, or like you could send mail in the same day. It's like they couldn't see the email. Like, so I feel like whatever we're thinking about now, we can't accurately predict what the future of air travel will be. Because in 20 years, they'll be like, those dumbasses, they didn't see X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Because all the innovation going forward is always something brand new. It's never like really a copy of something we have now. It's something completely new.
Yeah.
So that's the problem they had. They're always like in the 70s. Like everything is based on like what they had and just like change it a little bit. It's something like, but yeah, so it's got to be something brand new that you can imagine. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It seems like there's always something brand new. And then there's like developments on that model for whatever it is, the phone, television. There's always like developments on that model, like flip phones. They get better and better, and then all of a sudden it was touchscreen, right? Yeah. And it's like iterations, and then it skips completely to something new, and it's like, what the fuck is that? And it's So
what's after iPhone? Really, the question. What's after all the technology we have now?
What if it's full immersion virtual reality? What if you can get to a point where it's indistinguishable from reality? Why take a flight to Atlanta to see my friends when I can just plug in here and just be like, "What's up, dude?" It's stuff like that I think is like what we're not seeing.
What if teleportation is the new travel in 100 years? 100 years.
Oh Jesus!
I wouldn't. Yeah, right.
Do you think there'd have to be like, like when elevators were still like a new technology, they had elevator operators? Do you think there'll be like teleportation operators? It'll be like almost like a bellhop type guy, and it'll be like, I'm taking you there today. Like,
let's go to Paris. Let's go to China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll just be some. Yeah. I don't know, man. That's fucking crazy. Now, I was gonna say for like drone capabilities, yeah, I always feel like they're gonna have to have someone in the cockpit, even just for liability issues.
Yeah. So at least one path. I mean, I think I'm fine overall for a career.
Yeah.
Maybe the smaller planes might not have to, because like I saw like one of the there's a glass cockpit named Garmin, and so they have a function where if your pilot becomes like unconscious, you literally just press a button on the cockpit, one of the buttons, and it's like, all right, commencing emergency auto land, and it lands by itself, does everything. And like I know like the large aircraft, they can do that already, but even for like the small aircraft, can do it all by itself. So what's that mean like for the future? Like that means smaller aircraft can do it. So maybe we'll see this in smaller aircraft by themselves. Like, so the Uber, ever see those like concepts for Uber where like it's a drone that comes, picks you up somewhere else? Like that could be a reality. But I couldn't imagine I'll ever see that commercial traffic anytime soon. Yeah. But yeah, there's concepts for like Uber. helicopter. Those are really cool because I mean we're seeing the technology come alive, and so it really could be on the brink. But yeah,
yeah, it seems like, I don't know, even like the B-21, like I feel like they're always gonna have a pilot in there because I mean the aside from submarines and missiles, like those are our platforms for nuclear weapons. Like I feel like it doesn't matter how good the AI is. You're gonna want a pilot in there. Like,
well, it's military though, so it might be different because they already have like the UAVs that they have like the Reapers and stuff Predators, flying over Italy. So also they don't have anybody on, like they don't have passengers on board. So if it crashes, I mean, they're just losing money. That's the only problem. There's no liability for people unless they crash into someone.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. They probably would see that in like a military airplane. But
yeah. What about?
Yeah, so definitely military planes are going to start becoming AI. That'd be pretty weird.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's also that's a strategic advantage. Like, if your AI is just software, those are pilots that you don't have to train, and it's also pilots that you don't lose. So the plane crashes, like you're not losing. You don't have to train a new pilot. It's just software, you know. And not only that, in wartime, it's not like we get attacked in like, you know, some Pearl Harbor scenario where all of a sudden it's like the whole nation has to mobilize for war. You don't have to keep like 5,000 pilots on like payroll, on, you know, keep them on bases. They got to always be testing. It can literally just be like war tomorrow and instantly 10,000 drones, 10,000 pilots. But that's a Skynet Terminator future.
Think about this though. If it does become AI, there probably won't even be a cockpit. It might just be like computers, and it might not even be a pilot in there because there won't be a cockpit. It'll just be a electrician or whatever the guys who work in computers are. Techno-wiz.
Yeah.
Would be the guys in there, not pilots. So, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say for like planes that don't have passengers, do you think they'll ever go full drone on like cargo, like FedEx, UPS?
I don't know. It's all kind of hypothetical. I mean, maybe. I mean, they're always flying over like populated areas, so that could be a concern. Whereas military is flying 60,000 feet in the air over a desert.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really have a set answer for all of those, but it's definitely they have their pluses and minuses for doing that kind of stuff, and it's just so dependent on what the society is.
Yeah.
20 years, 40 years.
Yeah.
Look back 20 years, it's so different compared to now.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be so different now. Like Mars in 20 years. I mean, it wouldn't happen, but maybe
it might. What do you think about Elon wanting to use his rockets here on Earth to completely corner the market on airlines? So it'd be go into orbit. So he's talked about like how he would fund shipping it, because he wants to shoot like 1,000 rockets to Mars to set up a colony, and that's obviously an insane amount of money. Mm-hmm. So he did some like conference, and someone's like, "How are you going to fund it?" And he was like, "We take on the FAA," and everyone was like, "What the hell does that have to do with anything?" And he was like, "We use our rockets to go anywhere in the world in under 30 minutes, completely wipe out the airline industry, take all the business. You want to go from LA to Sydney in 30 minutes? Boom. Abu Dhabi to New York in 25. Like, that's what it would be. Yeah.
When Elon says that, that's kind of concerning, because Elon does stuff. Like, he gets stuff like done.
Yeah. He's someone that they're really not empty words.
Yeah.
When he's like, "We're doing this," it's kind of like, "Oh fuck." It's just
like, oh no. Like, now I'm concerned. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna learn to fly a rocket soon.
Well, I was gonna say, maybe that's your move, man. You talked about space. You said you'd be interested in that. Maybe that's your move, dude. I mean, what better people to do than, if he's gonna wipe out the whole airline industry? They're all gonna need jobs.
Get there now, yeah.
Exactly, and they already have. I mean, no, it's not the equivalent of. It's not the same as flying a rocket, but you're a lot closer to being able to fly a rocket than just Joe Civilian. So like, I feel like a lot of shit's got to carry over from being a pilot to flying a rocket, right? Again, it's not entirely, but it's more so than me. Like,
no, but most people who fly stuff in general typically learn how to fly planes in the beginning. Like, you see those blimp pilots for Goodyear?
mm-mm.
Well, the guys who fly the blimps for Goodyear, like, they learn how to fly a plane, and then they go training for how to fly this blimp. There's like, it's completely different, but they still learn how to do the basics. And so I think you're definitely, no matter what, have to do the basics and then fly this rocket or something else. You won't just go straight to flying a small rocket to a bigger rocket and then to a bigger rocket. Larger rocket. Yeah. So the training will be the same overall, but so I'm not like, that's a pretty cool idea. I kind of want to look into that now, see if I can go straight to the rocket kind of feel of it.
Dude, you should. He talked about it. They'd use the Starship, I guess, capsules, which can carry 100 people, and he's like, you would just put them out on these like platforms off the coast of major cities. So he's like, you just have it like, you know, like a mile out there, you take a ferry out there, you'd have a whole platform, and take off from New York. You'd get up to Mach 23, that's orbit, and then you just kind of punch right through the atmosphere and come back down somewhere else. But I guess it wouldn't matter what the cost is, because if it's not even like comparable to like the Concorde compared to like a normal, it's like, oh, you can get across the Atlantic in like 3 hours instead of 6 or something. It's not even like the same. It'd be like, hey, instead of like this 18-hour flight to New Zealand, you can get there in like 21 minutes. Like, it's not even the same. Like, you can't, it's not even comparable.
I mean, it's almost a scary thought. Like, that's future right there.
Yeah, that's the shift that like no one sees. Like we were talking about, the old timey people. Like, there'll be blimps and trains everywhere. Like, no,
like now it's rockets. Like, it's actually rockets. That's cool.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's a fucking scary future. But
but also go the other way. It might not be so pretty in the future. So hopefully it does turn out pretty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of funny what his plans are. It's to fly the rockets into like preset paths to other cities and come back down through the atmosphere. It's like, where's that? Where have we seen that before? And it's to launch ICBMs and to throw nuclear warheads. It's the same. It's all the same shit. Go up, break apart, but instead of hitting, these slow down and land. So I don't know. I don't know. Well, I guess that's like a positive thing. We went from nukes to potentially passengers. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, hopefully get rid of the nukes, because these aren't. I don't really want them. Because if someone has a nuke, then the whole world's done. If you shoot a nuke to someone. Yeah. Like, so if we start having these rockets that have nukes, plus for everyone, right?
Yeah. Until one is disguised. Because you gotta think of the military application of that. Let's say it becomes commonplace, where it's just all these rockets operated by like Delta or American Airlines, and now it's just normal for rockets to fly up and come over the horizon and land. Everyone's you're gonna kind of get used to it. Mm-hmm. And what a better time to put a nuke in the cargo bay.
Yeah, and even terrorism. Like,
that's what I mean. Yeah, it's
TSA. They're on their game by 20 years. Hopefully they know what they're doing.
Fuck them. They're not gonna figure it out, dude. If they can't figure out 737s, they're not gonna figure out rockets. Yeah. Fuck that.
But government doesn't seem to do too well when they try to fix stuff.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, man, we're coming up on 2 hours.
Holy shoot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yes. Anything else?
I'm out of questions, man. But you're more than welcome to come on and do another. Shoot more shit.
Yeah. Well, how about when I get more ratings, I'll talk to you about those.
Yeah.
So I didn't talk too much about airplanes, like in what my field has been.
Oh, dude. Like I said, I don't care. I'm sorry. If did you want to talk about that more?
Oh no. But next time we'll talk about.
Oh yeah. No. It's Where'd you go?
But what we talking is great.
You're breaking up. Oh, there you go. Yeah, no, yeah. The conversation's kind of. Yeah, I always have people on that know like a specific thing, but the conversations always go off into the weeds. So, but
I
that's
love the way it goes because
yeah.
you go in a circle when you're talking about the same thing over and over again. But when you kind of go and branch off so many different ways, like at that point you're talking about like completely different things from aviation. But, like I love the way it went.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I had the guy on that drove armored trucks for a bank. We were at like minute 30 when we were talking about like becoming billionaires and like having like stupid shit. Like I'd have like people like steal the flags from people off Mount Everest. Like if I was a billionaire, just you plant your flag and just some dude run out and just be like yeet, like fuck you, like pepper spray him, give him a wedgie, and be like Tommy was here. Yeah, no, dude, that's what makes the conversations fun as they go off into the weeds. That's I don't want it to be like a set thing. Like today we're talking about aviation and aviation only. Like, fuck that, dude. Fuck that. That's what the evening news is for. Is for pre-planned, packaged bullshit like that. I like it much more where it's, talk about anything and everything.
Yeah, well, it was great. I loved the conversation. It was so much fun. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you hopefully soon, and I'm sure hopefully I'll see you with 10 million followers.
Fuck time. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you're gonna be my private pilot.
That's right. I'll be your jet pilot. That'd be cool, right?
Fuck yeah. Yeah, dude. Shoot me a message on Reddit. We can talk about doing another one. Figure it out when your next milestone is, and by all means, dude, come back on.
I've been coming here, but thanks, man.
All right, dude.
Soon, man.
All right, appreciate it. Take care. Peace.